A circle full of dogs. We put in a... Oh, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs.
Whoa, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris Rose over here with my co-host, Michael Stewart. Welcome
What's
to,
up, Chris?
hey, what's up, Michael? Welcome to our Wednesday edition of the Rush Hour preview show as we take a look at the 1-3 Giants heading out to Seattle against the 3-1 Seahawks. So, Michael, what's your feeling? We turned the page. Before we get into some of the details, what do you think? How are you feeling going into week 5 here?
Well, obviously not too good as a Giant fan, 1-3. But, these are one of these crazy games, just like back, what was that, 2019 or 2020 it was? I can't remember when it was. Mm-hmm. When we went into Seattle, no one expected us to do anything. We had Colt McCoy as a quarterback, and we beat him 17-12. So stranger things can happen, guys. And we'll talk about it more.
You know what, Mike? I remember last year we did a show, and it was when Seattle came to the Giants on, I think it was a Sunday night, and, man, the Giants look horrible. That was a terrible, terrible game.
Yep, certainly was. They were totally outplayed in every category in that game.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, thanks for jumping in here. Bill, you're always hanging with us. We appreciate it. Bill's
we'll get into that, Bill.
Yeah, for sure. That's the way it looks right now, Bill. I know he didn't even do any type of walkthrough or limited action today, and that's Neighbors, but we'll get into that. Thanks for stopping by, Bill. Appreciate it. I remember us talking last year, Mike, about the Kenneth Walker, the running back, which goes into his 3rd year. What a tough runner he is. Hard to bring down. We saw a little bit of that on Monday night against with Seattle and Detroit. I mean, what a game Monday night in terms of going back and forth a little bit back and forth, but Seattle hung in there. But Kenneth Walker, tough runner, right, Mike?
Yeah, he is. And, he missed the first couple of games, but the last couple of games, he's looked like he hasn't missed anything. He's got, I think he had a 100-yard game his first time out, and then he ran for like 88 tough yards against a pretty good Detroit defense. So, we'll talk about him. He's one of the keys for that Seattle team for this game.
Yeah, and you know what I can't help but think about is you look at Charles Cross, their tackle. He was, right up there with Evan Neal as one of the top tackles, and he seems to be playing pretty well. And Evan Neal's on the bench, but Illuminor's doing good. So I mean, it's just the way it is. But man, the tale of two players right there.
Yeah, and you know what, Chris? I mean, back in that draft, 9 out of every 10 GMs would have taken Neal over Cross.
Yeah.
We don't know. Maybe the book's not closed yet on Evan Neal. Who knows? But right now it's not looking good for him as a Giant.
Yeah. At some point we'll probably see him, in some sort of action. I would think at some point in the season. So hopefully he fares well. Hey, Cold, welcome back, man. Always great seeing you on the preview show. Nice surprise for you to pop in here, so we appreciate that. I'm not sure if you were looking for Craig and you found us, but nonetheless, we appreciate it, man. We always do. Thanks, man. Thank you. You and Bill appreciate it stopping by. So, Mike, let's before we get into some of the deep dive into some stuff, let's just go over the injury report today. So the Giants, Adoree Jackson calf did not practice today. Adoree Jackson with the calf, Neighbors concussion protocol. He didn't even do any type of walkthrough or any type of practice. Drew Phillips calf did not practice, and Singletary, the groin. So that's obviously could be a nagging injury with the calf for those guys. So did not participate. Limited today. Brian Burns also a groin. Wandell with the heel, and linebacker Matthew Adams, who was put on the IR beginning of the season with a quad. He's active. He's activated for practice, but he has 21-day window to be activated to the roster. That's the rule. So he can practice, but the Giants have 21 days to activate him. So maybe we'll see him get activated and put on the 53 officially. But what else? What else is going on? So before we get into any other things that we have planned, Mike, and everybody out there, just a quick heads up on some of the injuries with Seattle, which is interesting. I mean, Monday night, they were without, two good ball players, as we know a lot. Well, Leonard Williams, he was out, and I think it was Bo Maffei, right?
Yeah.
He was out as well. So two big defensive players that did not play. And then you had Julian Love, who's also out with a quad injury during the game. He had to leave, I believe, in the second half. So they are banged up a little bit. Also on the offensive line, they're down to their third right tackle. I think it's Forsythe. So they gave up 9 hits Monday night. So maybe that's the route the Giants take, is once again trying to get pressure on Geno Smith. I believe he was sacked 3 times and he had nine hits on him. So the offensive line of Seattle, probably not one of the better ones out there. They're probably average, but Giants, hopefully, like they did with Cleveland, can take advantage of the guys up front.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we'll talk about that later on in our Truths.
Absolutely. And before we move forward, hey Jay, thanks for jumping in, man. 2 legends, Carb Crush and Truth.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're being serious or what, but we'll take it. Thanks, man. And Deception, welcome. Hey, man, thanks for jumping into the show tonight. We appreciate it. What do you want to do first, Mike? You want to go into some of the game plan, what we're looking at with some of the stats? Why don't you take over some of the stats with Seattle Giants that we worked on? Yeah,
like we do. We'll break down a little bit of both teams' offense and defense, a couple of bullets on each of them. With the Giants, let's start with the Giants' offense. Aside from the one game against Washington, where even though they were a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone, they still figured out to lose that game. Their red zone has been pretty bad. You take that game out, it's pretty bad. Their red zone, that's got to improve. They can't keep kicking field goals if they get in the red zone. It's hard enough to get in the red zone and move the ball between the 20s in the NFL. When you're in the red zone, you got to get the opportunities. You got to cash in. And Giants, thus far, as a whole, haven't. Certainly hurt them this last game in Dallas, because that was a game. It was there for them to win. It really was.
And you know what's amazing, Mike, for a team that doesn't get in the red zone much, when they do, this was astonishing. They're 50% in the red zone, which ranks them 20th, which I'm shocked. I picture the Giants at 30. But I guess that Cleveland game, it helped out quite a bit, because they did a decent job.
Yeah, you take away that other game, though, it hurts them. And then, of course, the Giants went into the game last week and against a team that couldn't defend the run, and the Giants, only ran 26 yards total rushing. Mm-hmm. That really hurt them, and that's something that they have to do better than. And you talked about Singletary with a pulled groin, you said, and that could be
he has a groin injury. Yep.
Yeah, that could be an issue. Daniel Jones, his failure to complete passes in the vertical game. Now, now it's becoming an issue. Mm-hmm. I noticed he did that early on. I noticed on Twitter, someone mentioned it. I thought they were nitpicking on him, but he is. It's becoming a habit. Even the completion to Neighbors, who was wide open. Neighbors had to stop, turn around, catch it, then start running again. He couldn't throw to him relatively in stride, else he probably would have scored that touchdown, a touchdown on that play. Mm-hmm. So, Jones needs to get better than that. He used to be good in the vertical game. He used to be good throwing a long ball. I don't know what happened. Is it his knee? I don't know.
They asked him today in the locker room, and he didn't, he really didn't give much of an answer other than saying, he overthrew, as we remember, over in the was it the Cleveland game?
Yeah, he did.
So he's kind of trying to, maybe it sounded like he's trying to put a little bit less on it, and he's still trying to find, that middle ground. He's got to trust he's got to trust himself a little bit better or trust, it's gonna work out. He didn't seem like he was too worried about it, but maybe he tried to scale it back a little bit this game, considering he had a few overthrows in the last one. But once again, hopefully this doesn't become a pattern, because usually, in the past, despite his deficiencies, he was pretty good on the long ball when he did take shots, Jones.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see, and we'll talk more about that in our keys to the game later on. With Giants defense, if you would have told me the Giants are going to give up 20 points against Dallas, I would say, what, they got a good chance of winning that game.
Yeah,
they got a good chance. But when you can't score touchdowns, it makes it harder. And the Giants, they defensively, you look at the front seven, then look at the secondary. Both of them had issues against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
The front seven, the pressure, they couldn't put enough pressure on Prescott, and I think they were very limited in quarterback pressures, and he had more time to throw the ball than what the average quarterback does in the NFL.
Yeah, you saw, though, he got rid of the ball fairly quickly. It was like a couple steps and done.
He did.
Couple steps done. So that was part of their game plan, I think, after looking at that Cleveland tape.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going off of, because get rid of the ball quick.
The secondary, I thought, again, I think they're giving up too many yards after the catch. I think CeeDee Lamb had a couple of long runs after a catch. That was a concern going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be optimistic. I still got faith in Banks, but he is struggling right now. I don't know what his ranking is in the NFL among cornerbacks. If someone knows that, please tell us. But I know it's not good. He's probably given up the most receptions or touchdowns. He's got to be up there in the league in giving up touchdowns.
I'd be interested to see that too.
Yeah. When you look at the Seahawks, now, the Seahawks as an offense, you just mentioned that game. It was more of a untypical game than I would expect from those two teams. It was a high-scoring game, kind of. And Geno Smith, 56 attempts. That is
it's a heck of a lot, right?
That's a heck of a lot, yeah. And that padded his stats a little bit.
Yeah, I think he had a 300 game thrown in there in the first three, and then the rest were kind of pedestrian, 150, 160. But he's thrown 4 interceptions, 4 touchdowns. I think he lives and dies by Kenneth Walker and those other 3 receivers.
Well, yeah, and those are a bunch of good players, and we're going to talk about them right now. Kenneth Walker, I think he's heating up, and here's a kid who can really, control the game. If you give him enough touches, he could be a game changer. So the Giants got to be careful with that. Like I said, he could be an X factor. And with Seattle, if their offense could be a little more balanced, because you got Metcalf, who 2 games in a row, he had 100 yards now. And you got the other guys, you mentioned them before. You got Lockhart and
Lockett and Najigba.
Right. And you got the other kid, the tight end, Fant.
Fant does a decent job. Yep.
Yep.
I will say, Geno, he does hold the ball. He will hold the ball. He will hold on to it. So maybe we get a little reminiscent of the Cleveland game. We're able to apply that pressure, because Geno will hold on to the ball and wait for things to develop downfield.
Yeah, and a good point Jay made. You just showed it up there.
Yeah.
That they had an easy schedule, Seahawks, and then the Lions came in. Lions are, I think the Lions, because of their early loss, they're playing mad now. That's going to be some division right there. That NFC, what is that? NFC North. Right. That is going to be some division, and you could have 3 teams possibly making the playoffs in that division.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be close. Depends how well Green Bay does when Love comes back. But we all see Minnesota's for real. They're 4-0.
Big test. This weekend with the Jets. Jets want to bounce back. Hey, Daniel Berry, highlights. Thanks for stopping in. Always great to see you.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. I don't want to get away from the Giant game. That's going to be interesting. Donald against his old team that drafted him.
Yeah,
You don't think he's going to have a little wood burning under the fire in that
Oh
one?
yeah, and the Jets lose, boy, that'll definitely heat things up.
And they could lose. Minnesota's a good team.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
so Minnesota, Seattle's defense.
Hmm.
You mentioned Maffei, and he got Leonard Williams.
Hmm.
They also got another kid, Derek Hall, who's leading them in sacks. So you got to keep an eye on. They got a couple of players, and I don't know if they're going to play Maffei and Williams. I'm thinking they will.
They were limited today in practice, but tomorrow's
Yeah.
Thursday. We'll get more of a report. But
Right.
yeah,
NFL has to submit by Thursday, right?
yeah.
If they don't, then they can't play, right?
Actually, well, I think by Friday you need to have the designations: probable, questionable.
Friday, okay.
Yeah, Friday will be those designations. Yeah, but every day they have to show if they were if they practiced, did not practice. So we'll get that report tomorrow. Because the rule is, we always say it: if you don't practice on Thursday, in all likelihood, you're probably going to be doubtful for Sunday. That's
Yeah.
usually the cutoff is Thursday for practice, but we'll see.
So
Yeah,
so before the game, Seattle's defense, they were actually number one against the pass, and they were overall number two
yeah,
defense before that game.
yeah. They after Monday they gave up 168 yards per game. That's their average, seventh in the league. Giants are at 14 at 193, so not that bad actually in passing yards per game.
Not that
But
bad, no.
not that bad. Rushing yards similar too. On defense, Seattle's ranked 14th, giving up 116 a game. Giants giving up 119, so similar there.
Yeah, but the Giants, we're looking at a Giant team that isn't that healthy in a running game.
Right.
You're telling me Singletary's got a pull groin, and so that could be an issue for the Giants.
Yeah, and Bill made a great point, and Craig mentions this, and I agree. Singletary is not the guy that's going to hit the edges a lot. He's
No.
going to be between the tackles.
Yep.
So now you're talking about a groin injury, and I think Bill mentioned it earlier. Maybe it was Jay. Maybe this is a game where Tyrone Tracy gets a little more involved on sharing the load with Singletary, especially hitting the edges, trying to turn the corner.
Yeah,
Because
and they
if
might have to play Craig.
Yeah,
Great.
his
Him.
and Singletary, obviously nursing the groin. I would think Tracy's going to get, some more action, obviously. So let's see if things could open up in the running game.
Well, we'll see about that. I want to bring up something before we get to other parts. I want to bring up a couple of things on Twitter. There's a big topic about Slayton and Jane Hyatt,
Mhm.
and I think more so with possibly Neighbors could be sidelined this game. We don't know what's going to happen with his concussion. You may see Hyatt get the opportunity to play. And, I don't want to see Neighbors not play, obviously, but I do want to see Hyatt get more snaps because the Giants got to make a decision with him because I don't think they're going to bring Slayton back. I really don't, especially if he wants to have the same money he had or more money in his next contract. I don't see it.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Me too. I think this will be the last year for Slayton. They're going to look to improve. But
Yeah.
to your point as well, Mike, I think a shakeup needs to be made on the offense. Although some of the numbers look good, last week in the passing game, whether it was Jones at 285 or wherever he threw for, right? It was something around there, 275.
281, something like that. Yeah.
It looks good on paper, but there was nothing to show in terms of getting in the end zone. When you talk about a guy that can move the chains, make the catch when you need it, get past the sticks. I mean, do me a favor, Giants. Bring up Hodgins this week, right? Elevate him from the practice squad. There's a good chemistry between him and Jones, and maybe he could cause a little bit of a spark. He's not going to be that downfield threat, but Giants aren't throwing a lot downfield anyway. So you know what? He'll move the chains. He gives you that comfort for the first downs. And how do you feel about that, Mike? If the Giants were to elevate,
I like it. I like it, Chris. I think you and I agree. We both like Hodgins. We both like the way that kid plays. We all watched the game last week. I don't want to keep bringing it up, but it seemed that too many times, 3rd and long, the Giants were throwing short. That could be Jones doing it. I don't know why the receivers don't go out of their routes after the first down marker. Someone tell me, I didn't play high-level football in college, so I don't know. I don't understand why they don't get past the first down marker before they make their cuts. But the Giants too many times did that, and they turned the ball over and on downs. I like bringing up Isaiah Hawkins. I think I like the kid. It's a shame that he didn't make the team, but maybe, like you said, they could bring him up if they need to, and maybe he can, create a spark for them.
Yeah. And to take it a step further, maybe, whether it's the blocking downfield, it's the limited packages that Hyatt can work at. Maybe it's not being able to get off press coverage, but maybe this is the game where Hyatt just you get a true bunch of packages for Hyatt that he can be a part of.
I totally agree. I mean, the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the kid didn't play at a Division III school. He played at a very good college against exceptional competition. I mean, his best game in his college life was against Alabama. He torched them for I don't know. I want to say, was it 4 touchdowns and 200 yards in the?
And they were all deep. They were 9 routes deep flies.
Yeah, and these, remember, Alabama, they got thoroughbreds in the secondary. These guys aren't slow-footed. These kids are great athletes.
Yep.
So there's a reason why Joe Shane traded up 16 spots in round 3 to get him from 89 to 73. There's a reason why he did that.
Mm-hmm. And check this,
kid.
Yeah, and check this out, Mike. I think the way the NFL has changed a little bit, and everybody out there, next generation stats. I was trying to find out the stats on these deep balls. How many of the deep balls are actually, are they throwing per game? Is it different than it was a few years ago? So we said this at the beginning of the season. The 2 high safety looks seem to be very popular even with the defense, playing the cover 2 and the 2 safeties, the Tampa 2. So in 2019, teams played the 2 safety high look to take away that long ball about 44% of the time. In 2024, it's about 63% they're playing 2 safety. So that explains why, not that there's been a big drop on the offense, but we're seeing a lot of intermediate under 20-yard pass plays. We're not seeing the over the top as many. We do see some, but the NFL has now kind of evolved a little bit with these 2 safety high looks with the defenses trying to take away the big play. Takes me to my next point, 20 plus yards per pass per game in the air. In 2019, there were about 10 shots per game over 20 yards in the air. In 2024, we're at 7. So a little bit of a drop off there as well. 30% decrease. So the pattern shows, and that the flow is changing, and the game itself is kind of, hey, we're going to make you come down the field, dunk us. We're going to not give up the big play, and hopefully you make a mistake. There's some penalties, an interception, a turnover. But it seems like the game has evolved a little bit, and defenses are taking away the big plays, or they're trying to.
Well, they're trying to, yeah. But you still got to try and attack it. Okay, Chris, bring up the Cole has a good question, the bottom one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that a lot. I mean, at some point, your quarterback, I don't care what quarterback you have, from Joe Montana all the way to Pat Mahomes, they're not going to throw every pass perfect. All right? When you're the wide receiver, you have to try to make those somewhat difficult catches, not improbable or impossible catches, but the ones that are difficult. But, the ones that if you can get 2 hands on the football, whether you're going back to go get it or it's a little ahead of you, you got to make the catch. You really do. That's why you're in.
There's 6 drops. There were 6 drops against the Cowboys.
That's too many. I mean, I don't know exactly I remember about half of them. Yeah. I remember Slayton one. I remember Robinson's, and I also remember Neighbors. Mm-hmm. They had drop each, and you hate to pick on Neighbors. The kid's been a stud, but he'd probably tell you the same thing. He should have caught that ball. I know that he got a little bit banged up on that play, but I'm sure those guys like Robinson, when he was, I don't know, that little slant. Mm-hmm. He probably would tell you he should have caught the football.
Yeah, he might have.
He wasn't blaming Jones on that.
Right. I think what happens, Cold, with Jones is that you see these obvious misses, and every quarterback misses, but it gets magnified with Jones. I mean, the Slayton on the free play, right? Underthrows him. Neighbors had to
Yeah.
hold up. The underthrow seems to be the big topic. It was before the the reads, the progressions, the fumbles. Now it seems like we've zoned in on Jones with the underthrows. Are we questioning his arm strength, his knee strength off the back leg? So that seems to be the new topic of conversation, is these underthrows. But
Yep.
once again, he overthrew a couple in the Cleveland game. So maybe he's just compensating, and he's taking a little too much off those passes. So hopefully Sunday he can put it all together and nail it. But we'll see.
Yeah, if you and I preseason sat here and said, hey, going into week 5, the Giants would have Neighbors and Robinson will be in the top tier in receptions. If we had said that, would you have thought, no way, not with Jones quarterback? Would you have thought, that means they'd be a 3-1 team, not a 1-3 team?
I would think Jones has 8 or 9 touchdowns, over 12,
Right.
maybe 1,200 yards right now. Sure, yeah.
I mean, we all knew how good Neighbors is. Obviously, we knew that. And I think most of us said it in the offseason. We think this could be Robinson's breakout year if he stayed healthy. And they're both living up to what we said. And hopefully they will stay healthy. Hopefully this is not a minor thing for Neighbors and not a recurring thing. That's head injuries, concussions can, they can linger and be God forbid, it could be something that someone has to retire from. But, those guys are on pace for, what did they say, 100, both over 100 receptions, right? Easily. They're both on pace, well over 100 receptions.
Yeah.
And I don't know the last time the Giants had that. It could have been when they had the guys, when they had
Nix, Cruz, and
right.
Look that up. Nix, Cruz, Manningham,
Tommy. It could have been then. Amani Toomey. It could have been those guys. I'm not sure, but
yeah, you gotta look that up. 2 over 100. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Sunday is a game where the running game is gotta be established. I mean, 26 yards on 24 carries, not going to do it against Seattle. Seattle worries me putting up points. Giants are going to have to put up points.
They have to.
And the Kenneth Walker, got first and foremost, right, Mike? I mean, I know they say stop the run first, or would you be more inclined to make sure you stop Walker, or are you more concerned about Metcalf and Njigba and Lockett and the tight end? Pick your poison? What's your defensive coordinator? Who do you want to stop first?
Well, I think you got to stop the run. I don't think what's his name, Geno Smith, is a pure passer. So I think he benefits from a solid running game that makes him a better passer. I think if you stop the run and put it in Geno Smith's hands to make those great throws, I think you have a better chance.
Becomes one-dimensional, right?
Yeah. But that's Seattle's game. If they can develop a balanced attack, they're a tough team. Along with that defense, they're a tough team.
Especially at home, right? In Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their
good point, Jay. Good point, Jay. We got to start getting the tight ends involved. So, not everybody's watching Neighbors and focusing on Neighbors only.
Yeah. And and Jay, you heard about Dable when he came from Buffalo, that he doesn't care about tight ends. Like, he filters them in. He put, he gets them, a little bit into the game plan, but it's not over the top. Kind of seeing that now. And there's no excuse, because the offensive line is doing a decent job, but it doesn't seem like, and I'm believing it more, that the tight ends really aren't a focal point of this Dable offense.
Not at all. Not at all. They're an extension of the offensive line. That's what it seems like. The kid Manhurst, he gets a lot of snaps, and he's considered the best blocker of the three. And the other kid, Johnson, is getting a lot of playing time. So remember early on, we had rumors in training camp about Bellinger being moving down, and we thought it was like
Theo Johnson was getting a little more action in training camp, and they kind of didn't say much about it. Don't look into it, kind of thing. And we're kind of seeing that now. kind of seeing that.
You know, I don't know what Bellinger's not doing in practice. Boy, I like the kid. His rookie year, I thought he played tough.
Mm-hmm.
He had that eye injury, and he came back. He busted his eye socket.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought the kid did a great job. 5 touchdowns for a rookie and a team that didn't really go to the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened.
Yep.
I don't know what
Hey, Grant, is there 12? Thanks for jumping in, man. Good to see you again. I'm glad you're up watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're usually asleep by now. All right, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Hopefully we don't put you to sleep.
Yeah, hope not. Let's go back to some of these questions. Going back to the tight end, Mike, this is a perfect game where you look at the game tape, you would think Seattle's not too concerned right now about the tight end. They're going to be more concerned about Neighbors, Wandell, maybe even Jones in the little RPO. But I don't think tight end will be their main focus looking at the game tape from the previous 4 games.
Nope. They're not going to worry about the run on the Giants, their running game. I guarantee you that. If they watch that Dallas film, they're not going to be worried about the Giants running attack. I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? I would focus on Neighbors and Robinson and dare Jones to make perfect passes and go to someone else and let someone else try to beat you. That's the game plan, I think, for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's it, JT Savoy. Theo would have been the hero of the week at the Cowboys game if Jones had seen how wide open he was for the TD instead of that last-ditch throw to Neighbors. Yeah, I mean, that's been kind of Jones's thing. He misses the open guy sometimes. We've seen that quite a bit. So, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe this is the game where they actually put the game plan around some of these tight ends. Listen, Neighbors doesn't go. The tight ends are going to have to be involved. They're going to have to be. It would be stupidity on Dable and Kafka's part to not get these tight ends involved in this game without a Neighbors. You can't just put this on a Singletary with a bad groin, a rookie Tracy, and then a bunch of 2s or 3s receivers. This would definitely be a group effort between a Bellinger and a Theo Johnson together, which would be really fun to watch, getting them both involved at the tight end position in the game plan. But we have to see. So we'll know more tomorrow and Friday if Neighbors is going to be a go. But yeah. I would think it's going to pivot quickly if he can't go.
I mean, they've done that. They've had double tight end sets, and and nothing was doing it.
That would be great. I mean, a 12 personnel would be fantastic. Almost like the old Patriots with hate to say it, Hernandez and Gronkowski, right? That was a big deal with them. It brings me the question with Kafka, right, Mike? I mean, what exactly? We never get clarification. Is he actually doing the game plan? Has that been confirmed? Or are we just assuming that he's part of the game plan? Or is Dable doing the game plan and Kafka's kind of just, I don't want to say going along with it, but giving his advice? But who's actually installing it? We've never really heard an answer for that. Am I right? Or anybody know that?
Yeah, we talked about that. No one really confirmed it, right? No one confirmed it.
We're all assuming he's a big part of the game plan. Dable's calling the plays, but we don't really know that for sure.
Look at this. Go second from the bottom. Third from the bottom now.
From Granizer?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Chris and Mike, does the new NY Giants Rush ever collab with an opposing team's content creator? A Seahawks content creator, the Hawk Nest, is looking for a Giants. Well, it's funny. I've heard of this, the Hawks Nest, and believe it or not, Richard Sherman has a podcast. I reached out to him to see if he'd come on the show. I didn't get a response, but I was allowed to at least communicate with him. I didn't hear anything back, but he has the Richard Sherman podcast. I would have loved to have Richard Sherman on, but yeah, man, that would have been cool if we had some more time. I
never heard of these guys.
I've heard of the Hawks Nest. I think last year I heard of them. That's good stuff.
We had the Minnesota guy on. We did that with him.
Yep, and he did a great
job. We'll try
job.
to get others for other games. We should do that, Chris. Try to find other guys. But sometimes they're so busy, guys. It's hard for them to get on with us.
Yeah, sometimes Mondays turn out to be a little easier because Wednesday they're into the whole, they're in the locker rooms and they're kind of deep into the that game week. But next week maybe we can get a Bengal guy on. I'll try to get somebody on for the Bengals, especially it's a Sunday night game. Have a little more time. But good question, man. We had the beat writer from the Vikings on, which was really good. A lot of good insight. Who would have known, right? They're 4-0, so. I don't even think he didn't even think that was going to happen.
No.
Yep. Mike, so when we look at some of the other notes you have, do you want to go over actually, before we do the keys to the game, and then we'll take some more some of your chats. Wanted to throw this out as well with the with some of the stats. When you look at hold on, give me 1 second. I think we said Giants are 50% red zone, Seattle 60%, 11th in the league. Third down efficiency, very similar. Seattle's at 37%, 20th in the league. Giants at 36%, so not great. They're at 22nd. Turnover differential, similar, -3. That's Seattle. Giants are -2. I think we went over rushing yards already. You already touched upon Metcalf. Last thing, Seattle against Detroit. Listen, Geno threw the ball 50 times. They had over 500 yards of offense as an offense. Pretty damn good. But once again, threw the ball 50 times. So
yeah,
that had a lot to do with it. Big question will be Drew Phillips working the slot on Sunday. See if he actually is able to go. If not, you're still looking at Adoree possibly banged up with a calf. He may not be able to go. So we might be looking at Flott on the outside.
So that's a nice matchup, Chris. You got Phillips going against JSN, right?
Yeah.
Nice matchup that would be. And again, I'm sure they'll play more zone on the outside because if not, Banks is going to have a heck of a time with Metcalf.
Yeah, sure is.
I mean, what a what a way, huh? You got to every week you go against these players. Look who he's faced.
Look at next week. Then next week. Jamar Chase, right? It gets even better. Even leave it to the Giant game for the Bengals to finally flip the switch on offense and be able to return to
unbelievable
their offensive numbers. But it's gonna be interesting on Sunday. I know we'll give some picks at the end. Bright spot filling in for Gano. I think Greg Joseph's done a pretty good job. I don't know if this game comes down to a field goal. But he hit 5 last week, so hopefully he's hit a nice groove.
5 for 5, right?
Yep, hit 5.
What are the extra guy who you just signed him off the streets?
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully that continues. We want more touchdowns and field goals. Red zone's an issue. Let's get into the red zone. But I think you mentioned it last week too, Mike. The Giants always have a problem with Jones trying to score outside the 20-yard line, right outside the red zone, right? It seems like when the Giants score, they're kind of inside the 10, they're inside the 5, but very rarely do they have that shot, over 20-something yards, maybe at the 30, where they take those shots and they score. It seems to be a tedious drive down the field into the red zone, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they're just like a what's the word I want to use? I don't want to offend them, but it's like a junior high football team that can't move the ball more than 5 yards a clip, whether they're throwing or running. They just don't throw the ball downfield. Mm-hmm. It's a frustrating thing to watch this Giant team. It really is.
Granizer, thanks, man. The Bengals content creators that I know are Bengals and Brews. Geez, you're everywhere, man. You're following all the content, all 32 teams. We're gonna go to you for
they got a lot of
interviews. Bengals and Brews. Oh wow, all right, cool.
I'm gonna look contact.
Yeah,
them.
let's make a note of that. We'll try.
They're called Bengals and Brews. That's what they're called.
Bengals and Brews. I like that. And we'll also try for one of the beat writers. So we try to see if we get one or the other. But that's cool, man. Thanks for letting us know. Bless you.
Thank you.
We're going to go to your keys to the game when you're ready, Mike. You want to jump on that? All right, let's do it. Let's do Truth's Truth. We call this the 3 keys. Take it away, Michael.
So we're going to start with the Giants, and it's going to be a broken record.
When is it not? Has it not been a broken record for the last 10 years?
I know. You mentioned it already, Chris. I hate to repeat myself here, but the red zone and third down conversions needs to improve. They can't, and one way to improve on that, especially on third downs, they can't allow their offense to be third and long. A lot of times they got to try to get, within 5 yards, be 3rd and 4. They can't be 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, because we saw last week they run their 3rd and 8, and their receivers do a 5-yard route, and they're always getting short of the first down, and they gotta kick the ball away. They got to get better with that. If they don't, it's going to be a game of kicking field goals, or if not, Daboll has to have brass balls, and he's going to have to go down and maybe go 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and go for it more. At this point, what's there to lose? What's there to lose?
Depending on the flow of the game, right, Mike? You're on the road.
Yeah, I get it.
No,
yeah.
but I'm agreeing with you. If you're on your own 42-yard line and this game looks like it could get out of hand, I think those are the risks you have to take on the road.
Yeah.
You have to now punt, and you're down already by 10. I think those are the kind of, kind of aggressive, 4th down, going forward calls you're going to have to make. I think Daboll will do that.
Yeah, and it's a must. And the Giants defense, because of you mentioned it, Dak Prescott got rid of the ball a little quicker, kept the Giants from getting sacks. They got to continue this. The pressure on Geno Smith, forced him to make a mistake. They turned the ball over, interception, perhaps a fumble when they try to sack him. You didn't mention we didn't mention about turnovers right now, but I think what is Seattle -3 right now?
Yeah, they're -3. Giants are -2. Yeah.
So they're pretty close in that regard. So usually good defense, like a good pass rush, could create turnovers. The Giants, Jones, he needs to be. We talked about this too. His vertical. Don't give up on it. If it's there, go attack the secondary beyond 20+ yards, 30 yards. They got to do that. They can't stop doing it because Jones did poor last week. What do you have, like 2 or 3 underthrown football passes?
Yep.
And down vertical. You can't give up on it. Keep doing it. They got the talent, the guys who can get behind the secondary, whether it's Slayton, Hyatt, or if Neighbors plays. They got the talent.
Yeah, and if Neighbors can't go, Mike, we talked about the tight ends already being more in the focal point, but that's going to be a given for Hyatt now being more involved. It's going to be Hyatt, Slayton, Wandell. That's what we're going to be looking at with Neighbors out.
Yep, that's right. And it's up to him to shine. It's up to him. When you look at the Seattle Seahawks, you got some players, we just mentioned them all, who I think are starting to get their game together. You got DK Metcalf, who's had 2 consecutive 100-yard games. Then you got the other kids in that receiver group, JSN. You got Lockett. You got the other kid, Fant,
the tight end. Yep.
Right. You got kids who are talented receivers, and then of course you got Kenneth Walker, who is also heating it up with 2 consecutive solid games. If this team has a balanced offense, they're a tough team, Seattle.
Yeah. You got to attack that offensive line. That's really where it's going to come down to against Geno, because that offensive line on the right side isn't very good. They're good. They're okay, but they're down to their 3rd string tackle. I think that's a game where both Burns and Thibodeau could take advantage.
Yeah, that's true.
And Dex, obviously.
Yep, and I don't want to be a cliche here, but if you control a line of scrimmage, we could put this down every week for keys. If you control the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball, you have a good chance of being in the football game or winning. You really do. It all goes down to the trenches.
Yep. And Mike, another reason why that Giant Cowboy game was close too, against a high-powered Cowboys offense, didn't really do that much, is Giants had 10 more minutes of time of possession. So big key, right? Get time of possession on our side, or on the Giants side on Sunday as well. Keep the game close into the fourth quarter.
And I have here, if Neighbors does play, you could bet your bottom dollar that Seattle is going to focus on him, and they got to slow him down. They can't allow him to get the extra yards after the catch. He's very good at that. He gets that yak after each catch. So that's something that they have to focus on, whether it be, I don't know what they're going to play. I'm not a defensive coordinator, so they could double team him with someone up for the short in the back, safety coming over.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to do something because you can't allow neighbors to roam and get yardage after the catch, because it opens up a lot of other areas for the Giants passing game if you do that with neighbors.
Yeah.
And Seattle's defensive front seven, which I think they will, they need to shut down the Giants running game, and they need to have Jones be the one to beat him. Jones needs to play even better. He needs to play even better than last week if the Giants expect to win this game. That's what I see.
If a Neighbors doesn't play, this is a game where Jones puts his team on the back and wins it. I mean, that's the only way I see it. If he would have to win it.
Happen, right? I mean,
if the Giants were to win the game, it's basically going to be like, it's going to be reminiscent of that Cardinal game last year, where he kind of put the team on the back. So I kind of look at it the same way, with the cast of players they have. If a Neighbors, it's the Neighbors show, right? It's the Malik Neighbors show right now. But if he doesn't play, I do see Jones. Well, I don't see Jones putting the team on back, but if they were to win, I think a lot of the accolades will go to, what a great job Jones did. But we'll see, man. I mean,
are you seeing Jones possibly throwing the ball for 40? I'm not going to say 40 times. I'm going to say 45 plus times a game in this game.
Once the score is going to dictate that, but also the injury with Singletary and how effective Tracy is on the edge. Okay. I think it's going to dictate the game with the injury to, like we said, Singletary and the score. Giants are down 13-0. I think they're going to start. He's going to have to, let it rip. Even if it's just the underneath stuff, the dink and dunk stuff to go down the field. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Giants can run the football. Obviously, it takes the pressure off Jones to throw the ball too much. But this is a weird game, Jay made a comment. Sorry that we're making you not feel good about this game, but Seattle losing this game against Detroit, they're gonna be up for this game, and they're gonna want to make a statement at home with their fans against the Giants. And there's probably not one player who's still there from the last time the Giants beat them in Seattle, but right.
Well, Lockett was probably there.
Well, Lockett, yeah, not many, but they didn't forget. They didn't forget, and they're not going to let somebody walk into their building and surprise them and beat them. So they're going to be ready for this football game. So the Giants better be ready from the opening whistle. They better be ready. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know, Cold. Obviously part of it's a game plan, but I expected more in Tracy in the passing game.
That's a good point.
We're only at game 5. Maybe this is the game with Singletary out. If a Neighbors isn't out, maybe Tracy becomes a little bit more of the game plan.
Yeah,
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I see some screens with Tracy, right? They did a couple with Singletary pretty
and
good.
they did actually pretty well. Yeah, and
let's see Tracy get some screens. You're right, Cole. A little flare out. Let's see what he can do.
I wouldn't think Seattle is very overly concerned about Tracy because he doesn't have much on tape yet. But this could be a game where it's kind of, I never thought I really didn't think the Giants would beat Cleveland, but I'm getting the same feeling against Seattle. Not that I think they're going to win, but it's almost like the defense has got to take over, just like they did in the Cleveland game, right? The defense, as much as the offense did a good job, defense, man, the pressure on Watson was ridiculous. I almost feel the same way with this game. The pressure on Geno will dictate if the Giants pull this game out.
It's amazing how a good pass rush fixes a lot of issues you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It made me realize how, other teams, how Giants fans feel when we can't keep a pass rush and Jones gets mauled, or and then we were doing it against Cleveland. It's amazing how a good pass rush just makes the whole defensive game plan easier. It makes it easier covering. It makes it easier in other ways, even in running.
Yeah.
You get the teams in long situations. they're really limited in what their playbook is or what they can run. You know,
And the creativity. I want to see the Giants with some creativity on offense, and just like we saw with Detroit, pulling some stuff out of the hat, against Seattle. But just be a little more creative with the screens, and getting guys underneath if they have the too high safety. Hitting Wandell in stride. I mean, we've had misses with Jones, but I think this is a game where Jones can't afford to miss guys. If the Giants going to win this game, Jones can't afford to miss the open guys with this yak yardage and these deep throws where they're open. He can't miss on this if the Giants win this. I think that and the pass rush are going to be the two keys.
Hey, yeah. Is this a game where we could see a flea flicker? Is this a game where if Neighbors is healthy, because he can't throw the football?
Yeah.
Is this a game where we might see something like that? They got the ball on their own 40-yard line, maybe. 3rd and 3, fake a jet sweep, and then have Hyatt go long or Sling go long.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they let Neighbors throw it a few weeks ago, and he had the wherewithal to throw it out of bounds like a veteran, which was a nice move. He didn't force it, so it's in the playbook somewhere. So maybe they got to go a little deep into the playbook. But yeah, that would be something. It's like one of these games where special teams, a trick play here or there, just to keep them honest. You know what I was trying to find, Mike, this week with the amount of deep throws that obviously is lacking in the NFL. I wonder. I can't find how many penalties are being called on throws, let's say over 30 yards. If anybody has a percentage on DPI, defensive pass interference on balls thrown over 30%. My feeling is if you take a few shots, one of them is going to be a pass interference call, even if you have the too high safety look. I mean, that's the first thing we all look at as fans, right? Everybody, we're looking for the flag. As soon as the ball goes incomplete, everybody, including us at home, we're looking for a flag, and we're like, all right, it's good. But it's become so normal to see a DPI flag. I would like to know the percentage on deep throws, and I can't find it. I'm going to still dig on throws, let's say over 30 yards or 40 yards. How many of those are actually defensive pass interference? Because if I'm the Giants, man, I'm still taking my shots, even with the too high safety. I'm gonna let Neighbors or even Slayton make a play, and if not, maybe there's a good chance there is a pass interference.
You got nothing to lose, right? You got nothing to lose. If anything, if you stretch the field, it could open up little slants. It could get the tight end involved, But I think it's a game. This is a game where no one us Giant fans are going to really expect them to win this. And if you are expected, I commend you because I'm sure they're going to. I didn't look and see what the what you call it in Vegas. The spread was.
Is it at 6? I don't know. That
makes sense. Yeah,
it's 6.5.
That's fair.
I think you said it, Mike. The best thing that could have happened was Seattle win that game. The fact that they lost on the road and coming home, it's definitely not that it's urgent. They're 3-1, but they want to get that taste out of their mouth, like we always hear about.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple. Yeah. What else, Mike?
No. I'm just looking at the comments here. The guys are really having some great comments.
Yeah, let's bring some of these up. Yeah, no kidding. You got it, Cole. The good pass rush would take pressure off our suspect secondary. Absolutely. Yeah, we saw that against Cleveland, how that helped. Yeah, I would love to see that same defense and the same
won 2
type
Super
of
Bowls
scheme.
Because of a good pass rush, right?
Yeah, that's right. Take that same similar scheme and get to Geno, who can hold on to the ball a little long. He'll make mistakes. He's thrown an interception each game. I believe each game. He has 4. I believe each one he's thrown 1. So
yeah. Geno Smith is not Pat Mahomes. So, the Giants could get to him, whether they sack him or force him to make the hurry up his throws. Is it a game that the Giants have a great chance of winning? No. But this is a game the Giants could steal one if Seattle's not ready to play them.
Right.
It's possible.
Well, we've learned as Giant fans to expect the unexpected. When you don't expect them to win or pull something out, they seem to do it. When you give them all the credit in the world and things are going great, it's a stinker. So I guess a lot of teams feel that way, but I feel like the Giants, we've seen more of our share of the disappointments when we expect to win. And then, wow, where'd this come from, right? Even the Cleveland game, they expected them to hang it, but they really played they played well the whole game.
And listen, that Cleveland game, it could have went to pots after that fumble on the kickoff, and they scored on the first play. The Giants could have put the tails between their legs.
You got it.
But they didn't. They came out and they played good football, and they took control of that game. They could have easily let Cleveland take control of that game.
11 seconds, the worst 11 seconds you could ever have. And man, they really had the resilience. So
you know what's funny about that game, Chris?
Yeah,
I couldn't watch it. I was working.
Okay.
I had a tournament, so I couldn't watch the game, so I taped it. And when I got home, I put it on, and then in the first 11 seconds, I said, "Oh my God, would they lose by a lot?" I figured they got killed, but that's why you don't give up, guys. You don't give up. You play hard and you play until the game's over. Jay has a comment at the bottom about, it's kind of funny.
I get the feeling our quarterback, that one?
Yeah.
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 Oh, wrong one. Hold on. That's one after. Hold on. Here we go. Got a few. Okay. So Jay says, I get the feeling our next quarterback will be just as bad or worse. This franchise is a clown franchise. Well, Jay, you know what? We've all been beaten up. That's the reason you feel that way, because that's what we all expect, because this is what we've been living for the last over 10 years. We can't take it anymore. We've been taking a beating, and this is, it's like our trigger, right? It's the way we all feel. When you've been beaten
like this, you expect it,
Yeah.
When you lose a lot, you expect to lose. It's such a mental game. Any sport, it's so mental more than physical. Go up a little bit where TJ Savoy.
He's
DJ could turn.
DJ, yep, I got that one. Let's put that up there. DJ can turn into the second coming of Montana, and I would still want to draft the quarterback in the first.
And that's going to happen, whether he plays well or not. I think that's going to happen. The question is, will they move on from Jones and bring someone in as a bridge for that quarterback they draft?
Yeah, Mike and I were discussing that earlier, and this is what I don't know. Did you agree with me, Mike, on the Russell Wilson thing?
I agree with you that we're going to have. I think they're going to bring a quarterback in, and then also draft a quarterback.
Yeah,
I think they're going to do both. Makes sense, especially in the New York market. With the fans, you can't bring a quarterback in draft wise and expect him to play right out of the gate. That's not fair. You got to be patient, let the kid develop. You can't rush kids.
Yeah, it's going to be like a Kurt Warner situation. Not that I would want Russell Wilson. That's not what I'm saying. But if you remember, he stopped him with Shane. And what happened? Somebody else post something?
Jay it says, truth given a Jimmy Valvano type speeches, we are in trouble.
Right. Oh, God. So Mike and I were saying earlier, I was kind of just throwing it out there because Russell Wilson met with Dable and Shane on his way to Pittsburgh. And I don't know if they really thought they'd sign him now because he was on his way to Pittsburgh and they kind of locked up a deal pretty much beforehand. But I feel like Dable and Shane were doing some due diligence where they spoke to Wilson and said, hey, listen, we'll revisit this. Maybe it's a 1-year deal you get in Pittsburgh, or if you're free next year, we'd be interested, kind of thing. And I could see a vet like Wilson
that could happen.
Being a stopgap for 1 or 2 years, and the Giants, bring that new quarterback in from the draft and just kind of let him sit and learn from what was from Wilson, who, hey, he's a former MVP and Super Bowl champion.
Isn't his wife something with ties in New York?
Yeah, there was a whole New York thing a few years ago. Even there was talk of him being traded to the Giants when he was in his prime. But yeah, I if you remember, he was in the Yankee farm system, right? He was a big
second baseman.
Yeah. So for a couple stints in the offseason or something like that, probably publicity more than anything. But supposed to be a good ball player, I guess. But
yeah, he's a great athlete. Listen, hey, hats off to Bill.
Oh man,
donated.
Bill. Always appreciate you, Bill. Thank you so much.
And Bill, I think Bill and I are around the same age because I grew up watching those pitiful early 70 Giants teams and even late Giants teams in the 70s. Yeah. My favorite player was Mendenhall, and then Carson got drafted in 76, so I started liking Carson. So I'm right with you there, Bill.
Yeah, thanks,
Oh,
Bill.
look at this.
With Jay? Yeah, Jay, you know what? I'm wondering, because McCarthy's coming off the knee injury, I wonder if the Vikings throw a lot of money at at Darnold to stick around. But yeah, listen. Darnold keeps
Will he
this up.
want?
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
So will it be a question of years or price tag with Donald to stay in Minnesota? Will
Yeah,
he
I
want a
think
4-year deal or
oh
not a
God, who
2-year
knows?
deal?
I would think he'd want more guaranteed money, right? He'd want a lot of guaranteed money, even if it was a 1 or 2 year deal. But maybe he just tests the market. We got to see. We're only at week 4. It's still early, so a little more tape on Darnold, a little more. Things happen during the season. But yeah, that will be interesting. Wouldn't that be something, right?
Yeah, Jay's not a fan of your prediction with Russell
Yeah,
Wilson.
I'm not a fan maybe of it either, Jay. I found it interesting that Russell Wilson did stop and speak to Shane and Dable, where I really didn't think Dable and Shane had any inkling to sign him now. That's the only thing to keep an eye on is that relationship that they have with Wilson on him stopping by. But I don't know. Maybe it doesn't happen, but it was just I was
Let me
curious.
ask you something, and guys who are on board, you too, Chris. Do you think perhaps maybe they will trade for somebody other than free agency and still draft a quarterback?
I think that could be a possibility. I don't know. I mean, the guys I remember that were free agents next year, there's not a whole lot of them. Like a Jameis Winston would be out there. We already said Darnold, Wilson, Justin Fields, just to name a few, top of my head.
What about the kid from Detroit?
Goff?
No.
You mean quarterback?
Yeah.
Oh, the back. Oh, yeah. What's his name? The backup. Not.
He went to Tennessee.
Oh,
Hernan?
yeah, Malik. What's his name? Levis? Not Levis. The other guy.
No, not
yeah.
Willis.
Yeah, you're talking about
No.
Willis.
No, Willis didn't go to Tennessee. He went to Liberty.
Right, but he played in Tennessee.
No, I'm talking about the kid Herndon. The kid who went to
Herndon.
Tennessee.
Oh, the big arm kid.
Big arm kid.
Yeah. I don't know, but that would be.
They committed to golf. Didn't they just give him an extension?
They did. But I would think the Giants wouldn't trade for an unknown. I would think they would get a vet before that and then draft the guy that they really want. I'm just.
Do you think that?
And Goff they would want a backup, right? I mean, Herndon, if that's who they believe in as a good backup, I would think they wouldn't want to give him up either.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Steelers are going to give Fields a contract?
It depends how the season folds out, right? It's hard to say right now, but if he takes him to the playoffs and goes 11-7 and does well, I would think they would. They're not going to be high on the pecking order for a draft unless they moved up. I would think they probably would if he takes them to the playoff and continues to progress. Right? Don't you guys agree? It's kind of still out for debate right now.
Yeah.
You gotta see. I mean, we're only in the 5th week, so we see a lot of things change. Baba Booey says that's funny.
Yeah, he's
Hendon Hooker, right.
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah,
I don't know. We're throwing out.
Yeah, we're throwing out some names. Hey, soon enough, everybody, we'll be there. The way this is going, a few more weeks, everybody's going to be doing their scouting reports on the quarterbacks coming out.
We'll have that. We'll have that. I think starting after the new year, we'll have our draft show. So
Yep. I just hope we can get past October by Halloween and still be in it. Can we do that, everybody? Can we get to Halloween and still be somewhat involved in some sort of playoff talk?
1, 2. So that's what 3-4 weeks from now.
Yeah, let's get to Halloween. Usually we end it around the 20th. Can we at least make it to the 31st for trick or treat?
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be tough.
We got to squeeze a win out one of these 2 games to at least keep
some tough games, right? They got Seattle, Cincinnati. Who else?
And then they go.
Don't they got?
Well, after Cincinnati, that's not the Eagles. Oh, that might be the Eagles, right? Yeah, they got the Eagles after that.
Okay, that's 3. What's the 4th game?
Oh, now you really asked.
I think you
Steelers
might
on the
answer your
road.
own question.
Steelers on the road.
I think you answered your own question there.
This is how sad it is, everybody. We have to win one of the next 2 games to be 2-5 to keep ourselves relevant. How bad is that? Wait, 1-3. Yeah, so we'll be. Oh, okay. So 2-4. Let's get to 2-4. Let's win one of the next 2 to stay 2-4 and be 2 under 500 and try to find 2 other wins. Yeah, it's going to be rough, man. This game, the Giants were to win Sunday, we're all back on the bandwagon, but we're all kind of feeling good again, like the Cleveland game. Let's see, a couple more, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Chris and Mike, rumor is that Will Levis. Oh God, I don't know, Grand Azure. He makes some terrible throws, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be like having another Jones early on.
He might get eaten alive in New York.
Yeah, he almost reminds me of how like Jones has gotten a little better with some of these head scratching throws. It's like he's still living it. Will Levis. He's only a second year, but man, I don't know if we can take it. I don't know if we can take another one like that. But hey, Shane, and that's why he's the GM, right? I don't know. They better make the right pick wherever it is, wherever they choose, whether it's draft, free agency.
And listen, I know some of you are going to go think I'm nuts saying this, but last year everybody was so adamant they're going to draft a quarterback in round 1. Mm-hmm. What if they wait till round 2? The way the draft unfolds, who knows? Yeah. Maybe they go different position in round 1. Who knows?
Yep.
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying.
Right. A couple more. JT, unless we make the divisional round, then make whatever moves we have to go get Dab's guy. Yeah, I think this would be the time. I don't even think divisional round. I think if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to be in prime spot somewhere to move up and get the guy they want. I think if Dabes sticks around, they will do whatever they can. I don't know if it'll be like an Eli type deal where they're throwing a couple ones, but I think if they have conviction about their guy, considering what they had to go through with Jones, they're gonna put all their chips in the middle of the table and get the guy they want and just do it.
Of course, that's if teams in front are willing to trade.
That's right too. Yeah. So, and once we get to that halfway mark, we're really going to see who's in front and pay attention to the draft order. But
because the Giants were willing to do that this year, go from 6 to 3. We saw it on Hard Knocks. Right. And I don't even know we ever got to what the package would have been because the teams weren't even – New England wasn't even interested.
Right. They wanted a couple ones.
I would definitely think a couple
in a laughing manner. They were joking around, but, there was seriousness behind that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to let it all play out. So, Mike, let's get to anything else.
Well, let's get some predictions here, guys.
Yeah.
Anybody want to chime in? Listen, this game could get away from the Giants very quickly. This could be a stinker like it was the last time they played against each other. So I want to be pessimistic. I want to still show my support as a Giant fan. So I'm going to say I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Seattle is going to score at least 24 points, and the Giants are going to muster up 13, 24-13.
I'm kind of similar to you, Truth. I'm going to say the Giants are going to play well early in the game. Things will get away from them, second half. I say 27-16 Seattle, and they'll be 1-4 going up against Cincinnati, and the heat will be turned up even a little bit more on the team.
Yeah. And we'll be back here next week.
Turning the page and moving. See, the good thing about us, Truth, is that let the guys on Monday recap all the other garbage that happens after a while. Like, that'd be nice to do a win, but they got to handle the loss, and we're kind of turning the page at that point. We touch upon it, and then we're moving on. So,
yeah, those poor guys got so much agita.
Yeah, we're ripping the scab off when it's me and you. We're done. We're looking at the next loss. We're looking at the next loss. Oh, Grandizer, really? Come on.
Look at this guy, Mr. Optimistic. I love it.
Putting the chips in the middle of the table, 23-20.
Hey, listen.
Overtime. Wow.
Nobody thought we would win that game when we beat them 17-12 a few years back. So, I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong.
I hope so. And Granizer's already looked at the weather forecast in Seattle. It's going to be – when is it not bad, right? I mean, doesn't it always rain in Seattle? I don't think you ever see a game there where the sun's out. Those poor people.
How does bad weather favor the Giants? I want to know. I think Kenneth Walker's a much better runner than what we got.
Yeah, maybe turnover wise, right, Mike? A slippery ball with Geno. Maybe a
Is
ball
that what he
comes
thinks?
out.
Okay,
I'm not
that's what he
thinking
thinks.
that because you've always heard that, maybe it favors the offense. They know where they're going as receivers. But I'm thinking in terms of Geno, maybe a fumbled snap, maybe a couple turnovers. I think it could go both ways for the Giants, right? It could hurt them
Yeah,
with the secondary because we're not very good, and it could help with turnovers. But whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. Oh, Darius. Oh, Darius popped in here. Remember, y'all, we have 3 quarterbacks. One more thing on the roster. If we were to get another quarterback, then one of them has to go.
well, what's her
I-
name has a 1-year deal. Drew Lock has a
yeah,
1-year
he'll
deal,
be gone.
doesn't he?
Locke won't be around. And
Yeah, he may not be
who
around
knows?
either next year.
Yeah. Well, and
He may
don't
not be
forget,
around.
Jones goes. I think that what is the cap on him is it's going to be a 23 million dollar hit. So the Giants will get, they'll eat that. So you're looking at probably Locke gone, Jones gone. Who knows? DeVito might be the guy standing to come back and compete for a backup job.
Could be.
It'll be his 3rd year in the system. If I anticipate Dave's coming back, but 3rd year in his system. But yeah, it's going to be may not be fun to watch the rest of the season, but it's going to be interesting, right, Mike? It's definitely going
Yeah,
to be
let's just
interesting.
compete. That's all I want to see. Hey, listen, these guys are competing for their jobs.
Yeah,
They got pride. They do.
yeah,
They're
for sure.
not gonna give up.
Yeah, yeah. All right, everybody. Well, listen, we appreciate you stopping in tonight for the preview show. We gave our predictions. I'm hoping everybody stays positive for the game. We're expecting, I always say, Mike, we expect the worst and hope for the best, and cautious optimism. It's kind of like what I said,
Yeah,
cautious
yeah,
optimism. But will you be able to catch the game at 4:30, 4:25
yeah.
Eastern time?
I
Okay.
will. I will this time. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yep. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy the game Sunday, 4:25 kickoff Eastern time. We always appreciate you stopping by to the preview show. Check out NY Giants Rush with Spartan, Alex, Sean, and Craig on Monday. I'm sure they're going to recap a big victory. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm sure they'll be wiping tears. I hate to say it, but you never know. Anything else, Mike?
No, that's it.
All right.
Let's see a good game. That's all.
Let's see a good game. Giants play tough. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Good weekend, and go Giants. See you next week, everybody.
See you, boys.